Welcome. We are here at the Forks to talk about the 17th annual Ironman Outdoor Curling's Bonspiel that took place last weekend out in the frigid cold in Winnipeg. My name is Ingrid Reed and I am part of the organizing committee with the Ironman, and here with me is my good friend John Hindle. And what is your connection to the Ironman?
Well, I was involved last year as their honoree. Every year they have an honoree that has gone through a heart or stroke event, and I was their one last year, and I was just totally taken by the concept of the outdoor curling bonspiel.
Fantastic. So over the next little bit on this segment, we're actually going to hear a little bit more about John's story, but then we're also going to hear about the current honoree for this year, as well as another survivor that has a very unique story as well, and a representative from the Heart and Stroke Foundation just to tell us a little bit more about women's health and heart attacks that a lot of us are just not aware of.
My name is Patty, and I am a SCAD heart attack survivor. SCAD stands for Spontaneous Coronary Artery Dissection. That means that my heart is fine, but my artery walls are weak, and one of my arteries tore. I had my heart attack in December 2015, just 3 days before Christmas. I was training for my first ultra marathon. I was going to run 50K to celebrate my 50th birthday. It was December 22nd, and I had gone for a run that morning and did some grocery shopping, and I was just getting ready actually to go to a potluck. And I picked up my crock pot. I looked at the clock, it was 6:45, and I needed to be there at 7, and I instantly felt odd or off, or I felt different right away. My husband said to me, "Are you okay? Do you want me to carry the crock pot or anything?" And I said, no. When I get to the church, I'm gonna have to carry it myself anyways. I'll be just fine. So I got in my car and I started driving to church, and as I drove there, it just felt like there was an elephant sitting on my chest. I couldn't get a big breath. I couldn't open up my chest, and the pain in my jaw and in my chin was incredible. I remember thinking I wanted to just saw the tip of my chin off because it hurt so bad. As I got to church, I proceeded to carry my crock pot in and set it up and plug it in, and as I was doing that, I noticed my arm was going numb and tingly, and then that's kind of when I thought, that's a sign of a heart attack. I could be having a heart attack. So I went back to my car, I phoned my husband and said, something's really wrong. I need you to call 911, I'll be home in 1 minute. And I proceeded to drive home. There was nothing I could change. Even if they had happened to check my heart a half an hour before I had my heart attack, they wouldn't have been able to tell. There's no precursors, there's no warning signs, absolutely nothing. I think it's important for women to know that our heart attacks aren't the same as men's. Typically, we think of a heart attack as what you see in the movies, like clutching your chest and falling to the ground. And that's generally not the way it is for women. Women, we need to listen to your heart, and you know your heart. And if something doesn't feel normal, it's time to ask questions. I have a few limitations. I'll be on beta blockers for the rest of my life and aspirin. I have to keep my heart rate below 130, which means I have to run very, very slow. And I do. I probably run actually more than I did before. Running is a big way for me to relax now, and I realize what a privilege it is and how much I enjoy it. I just have to do it slowly now. Well, I still have that 50K on my bucket list. However, I run so slow, I don't know that I can do a sanctioned race. It might be just something private I do by myself one day out at our provincial park here. I think what's important about Heart and Stroke's campaign this year and the rollout with Ironman is women's heart health. Women have been misunderstood, under-researched, understudied, and misdiagnosed, and it's very important for the world to know that we have to start listening to women's heart health. One of the differences that I'm aware of with men's and women's heart attacks is, in my mind, I always thought of a grandpa out at a golf course or playing with his grandkids. I never dreamed that a 49-year-old marathon runner could have a full-blown heart attack. But we think, like, it's just in the movies, you clutching your chest and falling to the ground. And for women, it's not like that. We continue to work, walk, talk, and take care of. We can do those things while we're having a heart attack, and we need to listen more. Women tend to overestimate how healthy they are. Go to your doctor, find out what your numbers are, get some blood work done, and it's also stress. It's something we can't avoid, but there are ways, and you can learn to manage your stress. We can't live without it, but we can find good ways to manage it. For me, running was a wonderful activity to stay healthy, but there's many things you can do, and curling would be a wonderful activity.
So that was a great message we heard from Patty. And one thing that I found very interesting, and you mentioned this before as well, is she has trouble now being out in the cold, and she can't run huge distances or get her heart rate elevated anymore. Those are the restrictions on her, but she's still very active, as with you.
Yeah, they told me I can't run a marathon. I went, darn, just when I was...
We'd like to go over to the Heart and Stroke representative. She's actually the CEO of Manitoba and Saskatchewan with the Heart and Stroke Foundation, Alison Kessler, and she's going to tell us a little bit more in depth of some of the reasons women are going through various or different heart attack symptoms than what men typically see.
So Heart and Stroke Foundation has had a long-standing relationship with Ironman Curling Bonspiel. It's been 17 years now that they've been raising funds for us. We're very grateful to the three main organizers of the event, Mark, Dean, and Michael. And every year they raise $10,000 in support of the work that we do. Funds that Heart and Stroke receives primarily go to three pillar areas. So primary prevention, saving lives, and promoting recovery. So a lot of our work under the Saving Lives portfolio goes to researchers, and in Manitoba alone we're funding 9 researchers that are in the cardiovascular area. There's a lot of focus in primary prevention, so a great example would be the foods that we eat and how that relates to our bodies and exercise. We are also funding research at the biomedical cellular level. So what does the heart do after a heart attack? Why does it not repair itself? We're also funding research in clinical areas, and that's in relation to bringing care closer to the patient and the bedside. The 2018 Heart Report from Heart and Stroke is all about women. So every 20 minutes in Canada, a woman is dying from cardiovascular disease. And we know that women are dying prematurely, which sets off major alarms for us, of course, because we want to be part of the solution. So we know that women are currently being under-researched, under-studied, at times misdiagnosed. So we want to be part of that solution so we can help women live longer lives. Some of the challenges that women are currently facing in relation to heart health is that they may not always identify when they're having a heart attack. While symptoms are very similar in both men and women, women tend to interpret the signs of a heart attack quite differently, so when they present to their physicians, they may be misdiagnosed because there is a difference in communication. Men tend to talk about a crushing pain, pressure in their chest area, pain that's radiating down an arm, whereas women will present with a flu-like sensation. They may have jaw pain, some upper body pain and neck pain that goes along with it. So that's where I think part of the confusion takes place. Fundraisers like the Ironman Bonspiel provide us with funding that we can utilize from a public awareness perspective. And I think that is going to be most important in this journey as we work towards improving cardiac care for women. So it's making women aware of what the warning signs are of a heart attack, making women aware that they need to be their own advocates and ask the right questions when they're seeing their physicians. We also need to advise women that they need to listen to their bodies and not hold off from going and visiting their doctors. So public awareness will be the very first piece in what we do, and because of the dollars raised at this event, it'll allow us to do that across Manitoba.
There was a great interview, and The work that the Heart and Stroke Association does is just so important to so many people in our society. And I can tell you last year when I spoke to them, and I had mentioned that one of the things that saved me was this clot-busting drug that they can give some people when they've had a massive heart attack or are having a massive heart attack. And that was one of their big creations over the past years. And all this fundraising money goes for things like that, which clearly, directly for me, saved my life. So supporting the Heart and Stroke Foundation is a pretty easy thing to do.
Fantastic. And the money raised for this event does stay within Manitoba and Saskatchewan to help out our region, which is absolutely fantastic. So what we'd like to do now is go down to ice level, show you what was actually happening this weekend, see these people that did make a difference that weekend with the Heart and Stroke Foundation. We'll probably get a glimpse of the first rock that was actually thrown, as well as some of those teams that were dressed up in costume and just having a great time. And hopefully we'll capture some of the energy that these teams do have curling in the Ironman Outdoor Curling Bonspiel. So with all those fires down there on ice level, it looked like the teams were kind of staying warm, at least a little bit, to get that hour-long game in, which, as you see, there's no experience necessary. It's just going out there and having fun on the ice. And I'm sure you had fun throwing your first rock last year.
I did. It was pretty cold too then, but they have so much fun out there for the good cause. It's just wonderful to be a part of.
Absolutely. But these events wouldn't be put on without the amount of volunteers that are part of this. They've been working on that ice for over a week to get it ready to go. All day on Friday they were prepping, but also our sponsors. We wouldn't be able to get out there without it. And talk to us now. Our next is going to be our title sponsor, who's actually from our local Subaru dealerships, Cal Subaru.
For the past 4 years, your local Manitoba Subaru dealers, which is Jim Pattison Subaru Winnipeg on Regent Avenue and Frontier Subaru on Pembina Highway, we've been the title sponsor for the last 4 years. We're signed on for another year for sure. Fantastic event, great cause, and a great group of people that put this on. The volunteerism within the group is second to none, and just everybody's out for the same reason. Let's raise some money for Heart and Stroke, increase the awareness, and have a whole ton of fun doing it. The connection that Subaru has with the event is that Subaru is a outdoor brand, you know, very connected with the community. This year's kind of a special year for us that one of the honorees is Margaret Morton, who is a product advisor for many years at Frontier Toyota, which is one of the Jim Pattison stores, and it's good to feel a personal connection to somebody who's had a tragedy or has had a heart attack or a stroke. Another person who was interviewed earlier was Patty LeBlanc, and Patty and her family are close friends with ours, and in her episode it was really struck home with all of us in our household. As Subaru, we have the two dealerships, as I said before, Frontier Subaru and Jim Pattison Subaru Winnipeg. We both have teams in this year, and our first draw tonight, we're going to be playing against each other, which is going to be a ton of fun. A question would be, who's the better team? That's yet to be seen. You know, the other dealership hasn't had a team in this event before, so I think I'll probably go easy on them, but not too easy. You know, the nice thing about this event is curling experience really isn't necessary. You need to be able to know how to layer. It is a sporting event, so you have to make sure that you stay hydrated, which is always important. But the curling aspect of it, it's not get down on the hack and be able to slide out 3 feet. You know, the men's team is doing that in Winkler right now for the provincials, but you basically put the broom on the rock, you use the hack in order to get a little footing, and you run up. As long as you release the rock before the hog line, it's all good. The nice part for the championship team who wins, they get Dynasty Apparel jackets, which are one-of-a-kind jackets. I was fortunate enough my team didn't win, but I was able to have a one-of-a-kind made in Cal size. This event's been going on for 17 years, and there's some teams that have played over and over again, and they always have the same name. There's unique names to it. Our team is the Subaru Sweepers, and it's about coming out to see what goes on. You know, as I said before, layer up a little bit. It might be a little bit chilly, but it's definitely worth the time to come out to the Forks and see the event and the way that everybody puts the event on. It's a great program. We just really want to say thanks. So I want to say thanks to the volunteers who put this together. Thanks to all of the participants who come out and make this the success that it is. And yeah, thanks to those of us, those members of our family that can't be here and are picking up the slack somewhere else in our lives.
Thank you for Cal with the energy that he brings to the table. And if he has that much energy in his interviews, can you just imagine how much energy he brings to the ice? Definitely something to even come see, if that's the only thing you're coming to see on the ice, is how Cal and his team performs out there.
Well, it was the magic that I see out there with all of these volunteers that come out to make this so special, and to help promote this, and we're already going to commit to making it bigger and better next year, right? I'm going to wear my toque, maybe not all year, but I'm still wearing it now anytime in the winter. It's just fun to watch these committed people.
But also, the top fundraiser does get prizes as well. The Subaru Silver Corn Broom, which is certainly a mantle piece to display. So the teams have a lot of fun working towards that, working toward winning the actual championship, which this year was won by I Swept With Your Wife. And they are very excited to bring the trophy back to their home company. Now, in order to register for next year's, we hope you join us next year, February 1st to 3rd, 2019. Can pretty much guarantee the weather will be a little bit better, at least. But come out. You can register online at www.ironmancurling.com, and you can actually go on that same website to donate if you're an independent person wanting to support the event. 100% of the proceeds from that donate button go directly to Heart and Stroke Foundation. The Ironman does not take a cut. We are here just to try to make a difference with the Heart and Stroke, make a difference with Winnipeggers, getting a little bit more activity and outdoors into their lives in the winter here in Winnipeg, and really everyone involved is having a great time. We thank you for watching.